In the middle of September, Governor Newsom passed Senate Bills 9 and 10. If you haven't heard, the intention of these bills is to alleviate California's housing crisis. The way it's supposed to do this is by putting an end to single-family zoning in neighborhoods across the state. If you're curious about how this affects you and your neighborhood, stay tuned. I'm Ryan Schramm. I'm a broker and realtor, and I own Ryan Schramm Real Estate here in San Clemente. Make sure and hit the little bell icon to subscribe to my channel, where I'm going to provide relevant lifestyle and housing content for South Orange County. All right, so coming into effect January 1st, 2022, SB 9 and 10 is going to make it easier for Californians to build more than one unit in single-family zone neighborhoods that have been single-family zone for decades. It will also give cities greater flexibility to put apartments in communities that are near public transit systems. So let's start with SB 9. Senate Bill 9 is going to give a property owner the ability to take their lot and split it into two lots and then put a home on lot A and a home on lot B. Or that same property owner can do the same lot split, lot A and lot B, and place two. They can build two duplexes on each lot. So if we look at that last scenario, it's effectively taking one single family dwelling unit on one parcel of property, doing a lot split so you have two parcels of property, and then that property owner can build a duplex here and a duplex here. So we're going from one effective dwelling unit to 4 units. All right, so under the new law, cities and counties will be required to approve these new changes so long as the proposals meet the size and square footage requirements set forth by the state. You're going to notice a trend here when it comes to, like we previously talked about last year, ADUs. Now we're talking about SB 9 and 10, which is allowing multi-units in traditionally single-family zones. The trend is additional housing while also preserving low-income housing and affordable units. All right, so a proposed project under this new law, it can't alter or demolish a previously low-income or rent-controlled property if it's been occupied by a tenant in the last 3 years. So basically, if you've got a rent-controlled property and there's been a tenant in that property for the last 3 years, that property's off limits. So there's a second type of property too that's off limits. That's going to be a historic landmark property. Can't touch those. And then finally, the third type of properties, if they're in like a farmland that's subject to flooding or like a forestry area that has a high risk for fire, those properties are off limits as well. So if somebody chooses to do the lot split and turn one property into two, there are some limitations. For example, each property has to be 1,200 square feet or greater. And also any unit that is developed under this law, there's a rule or restriction that this new property cannot be used for short-term rental. It has to be leased for 30 days or longer. So who can take advantage of this law? Who can do this? Homeowners and landlords can apply through their local jurisdictions to take advantage of SB 9 or 10, so long as they plan to live in the property for a while. They'll actually, if their plans are approved, they'll have to sign an affidavit that says the homeowner will live on the property for at least 3 years. So that's going to cause some people to think twice, who otherwise might just be thinking of a money grab here to create all these additional rental properties. The homeowner is signing under penalty of perjury that they'll live at the property for 3 years. Which kind of leads into the next thing. Do cities have to sign off on this? Do they have to honor the SB 9? Local jurisdiction may only deny an application if they believe that this is going to have a specific adverse impact, or it's going to have an adverse impact on public health or public safety. And finally, they have to prove that there's no other option on how to mitigate those adverse impacts. So all that to say, it's going to be difficult if an application for development meets all the criteria. It's going to be tough for a local jurisdiction to deny that. So question, will local rules about building height, size, and parking still apply? Yes. Developments are still going to have to follow local zoning protocol, such as height restrictions and yard size requirements. Furthermore, there's no parking required for these additional units. We saw that with the ADUs as well. When the ADU law came down the pipe, parking was not required on site. Street parking can be utilized. And we are also seeing with Senate Bill 9 that Parking does not have to be added to the property if there are certain proximity to local transit zones. So will this law put a dent in California's so-called housing shortage? So there was a recent study done, and just so that I get it perfectly right and I quote it correctly to you, I'm going to read it. A recent study by the Turner Center for Housing Innovation at UC Berkeley estimated that just 5.4% of the state's current single-family lots has the potential to be developed under SB 9. So only 5.4%. It goes on to say that making construction of up to 714,000 new housing units financially feasible. 714,000 new housing units sounds like a lot, but check this out. That's only a fraction of the 3.5 million new housing units that Governor Newsom wants to see built by 2025. So that's the quote verbatim. What this would, this SB 9 and 10 would potentially allow is around 714,000 units total, which is 5% of single family zoned areas across the state. Now on to Senate Bill 10. All right, so Senate Bill 10 eases the process for local governments to adjust zoning in areas near public transit or in urban areas where up to 10 units, 10 apartments can be put on a single parcel. The new legislation allows municipalities to bypass the lengthy process that was known previously to get these types of projects approved. And it also makes some workarounds for the also lengthy process of the environmental impact reports, the studies that have to be done before this type of project can get passed. The whole purpose of this is to help reduce the costs incurred for a property owner if they wanted to go through the process of adding 10 units to a property or changing the zoning near public transit. So the idea is to make it easier and more advantageous for property owners to take advantage of this. I know that this was a lot of information to take in, super rich in content, and this bill I know is scary to a lot of people who are in a single family zone neighborhood. Oh, how is this going to impact my neighborhood? And we're going to keep an eye on it for you. I will keep close tabs on how things are changing and how SB 9 and 10 are impacting the community. Leave a comment or a concern or a question below. We'll keep tabs on this for you and make sure to bring out any new information that we hear on SB 9 and 10. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.